Rolling. Are we rolling? I got some gain bumps here. Hey. Oh God, this is gonna be
You could come close and see the light, but if you don't waste my time. Let it pass you by. I've been taking it slow to read the line. When my energy comes alive, yeah, I see it like diamonds on ice. Yeah, I see me like diamonds on ice.
Oh, hi everyone. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I decided to restart my YouTube channel where I can give you guys a little bit of a closer look into my everyday, a little bit about myself. And I had sent out a thing a while ago on my newsletter regarding anyone asking me the questions that they wanted to ask so that I could get a little bit of a prompt to answer some of those questions during this little segment that I'm doing from now on. Now, I wanted to also do this once a month because I feel like I was doing the newsletter once a month, but sometimes that doesn't reach people. Sometimes people like visuals, so here I am. I've always loved vlogging. I always loved YouTube. I always found myself always learning stuff on YouTube. So I always wanted to do this one myself. Full disclosure, I will be doing a lot of these in English. A veces quiero hacerlo en español también, pero de la verdad tengo que mejorar mi español. Y también yo quiero hacer algo con guest speakers, con mis amigos, con mis amigas, productores, people that I love. I think this would just be a really fun outlet for me. Another thing on the plate, but I love a full plate, you know? I'm a hungry gal. Anyway, okay. Let's get into it. Figured I would give a little recap for this month of what we did, talk a little bit more of it in details, and then I'll answer the questions that you guys have. So since I have the memory sometimes of a goldfish, I like to do this thing where we take a scroll through the camera roll. And my iPad's dead, so we're going to reference the scroll on my laptop. All right, first up, let's see. Beginning of November 1st. I started this month with a vacation with my family, which I was really, really stoked about. I went to the Dominican Republic, Punta Cana. It was amazing. I didn't realize how much I needed to get away. The beaches in the Dominican Republic are, in my opinion, some of the best beaches I've ever seen. The water was so blue. It was amazing. I drank some coconuts. I love coconut water. And I worked out. Not a lot, but I did a lot of band work. If you have been following my journey for a while, I love athletics. I used to play basketball in college throughout my whole life. I love to lift. I love to do Pilates. I used to love to run until I kind of hurt my back. And now I do some zone 2 cardio instead. But I absolutely love to work out. I love staying on top of my body and staying on top of my health. But I've always been a really competitive athlete, which I think really bleeds into some of my habits for music. Played some Roma Cube. Oh, I love Roma Cube. Then I went straight to my sister-in-law's baby shower, which I'm so excited. I am going to be a tia. Oh my God, guys. Oh, I am for sure having baby fever. I have dog fever and baby fever year round. It's a year-round condition, chronic. I got some good matcha. Here's me making sure I take care of my skin and sleep well. And then Disney. We had our first gig back at Disney, which was really cool. We finally are back in the park for Festival of Holidays, which I'm super excited about. Ran into Mickey and Donald. Those characters are hilarious. I will tell a story about our second time there at Disney, but I'm going to hold on till we get there in the camera roll. Yeah, this was really, really fun. We had a really good crowd too. And then our November was really focused on getting this live recording done that we worked on with a lot of our sponsors that we're working with for next year and also for the album coming out next year. I pretty much decided with my percussionist and also just really good friend and big person on my team, Sebastian. He is amazing. And my other friend, Gabby Neely, who are really like big members of my team. I mean, Sebas and I kind of started months ago on planning this event for how we would give both the people who worked on the project, maybe some fans, and then people who wanted to work with us next year, an insight for the album. We got to put a live version to all the songs that are pretty much done and recorded for the album. Had my MD, Tony Espinosa Blair. I don't know why I said his full name. Okay. Anyway, Tony helped arrange a lot of this, and we had the full band come together. We partnered with Elemental Recording Studios in Santa Monica, rented out the studio, and we just did the whole thing. It was a long time of planning and recording. My family flew in early for Thanksgiving to come support, and that also meant the world to me. Then we went back to Disney, which was cool. At Disney again. It was a little bit warmer that day, which was nice. We had Sebastian wearing the Fender shirt to represent, because they were also one of our sponsors in this event, which was really cool. This was the story I was going to tell Trey. He's going to get mad at me for saying this. So Trey let his intrusive thoughts win when he decided to interact with one of the characters at Disney. So typically at Disney, when we're performing inside of the park, there's a lot of high security and there's a lot of rules that you need to follow. Very different from performing at Downtown Disney. Downtown Disney's a little bit more chill. But since this is inside the park, there's a high security clearance that we have to go through. We always have to be wearing like our sticker. It's a whole thing. Sometimes the characters will pass by us, whether when we're performing or before we go on stage. So we happened to cross paths with Mickey and Minnie as we're going into our first set, and we all were super excited to see them. We gave high fives, and out of nowhere, Trey decides to go in to squeeze Mickey's nose. He decides to just go give it a little honk. I have no idea what he was thinking. Anyway, so Mickey immediately throws his hands up. He's like, bro, get the away from me. We were cracking up about that the entire time, so he's probably embarrassed for me telling this story, but oh well, that was really funny. So yeah, Disney's always really a good time. It's really long, but we love meeting everyone, and it ended up being a great evening. A good Thanksgiving. My mom goes full out for Thanksgiving. Here's my papa eating a roll that he shouldn't be because he has diabetes, but he snuck one in there, so papa, love him. And yeah, with the scroll through the camera roll. Now I'm going to go into our questions segment here. Okay, I'm actually going to be answering 2 questions from 2 separate people that you guys submitted in my email newsletter. The question is, what is your songwriting process like? Where do you gain the most inspiration? Okay. So I would say my songwriting process isn't maybe too different from a lot of other artists from what I hear and what I've been kind of hearing on podcasts and such. I don't always write when I'm inspired. I've worked on making myself doing 5-minute drills, which really entail me pressing the timer and trying to write a song in 5 minutes. Now, that can sound really daunting, and honestly, the first 2,500 times it was. It's like yesterday, it wasn't that daunting. No. But really, essentially, it's just to get yourself in a state of flow and not be afraid to fail and not be afraid to make mistakes. And that was my biggest issue as a songwriter when I first started, is I was just really focused on perfecting everything. And I think that's such a silly thing to be worried about. But also, it's so dumb, actually, because who am I to think that I'm a great songwriter with that many reps? I think my inspiration is nice when it comes, but it's not always there. So I do force myself to write all the time, as much as I can, in between gigging, in between working, in between doing all this stuff. But where I get inspiration from is really from feeling. I'm a big feeler, especially when I'm by myself at night. I feel everything so deeply, and I used to think that was something to be really ashamed of, but I'm genuinely really happy for it now, because it's allowed me to really feel every aspect of love, whether that's healing from it or breaking from it. It's really allowed me to be so introspective about my relationships with people and friends. I would say really love. Love is probably the biggest writer of my story, and it doesn't always it's not always, intimate. So it's really easy to pull from that place. My songwriting process looks like me sitting down with a chord progression and starting with the melody first. I've worked with a lot of producers and writers. I do a lot of different methods, but for me, I've always preferred going into it very simple and writing a melody. Some of my songs have come from YouTube beats. I mean, the last song, Take Me Home, was from this producer, Fred, who I have just come to absolutely adore. Sometimes I don't even look at who did the beat until I decide to okay, I'm going to use this. And then I'll go look it up and buy the beat or license it, whatever. And every time I was looking up beats, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Fred again. Fred again. Not the same. I finally got in contact with him. I was like, dude, I keep writing to your stuff. We need to work together. I love sessions. I've grown to like them more this year. I didn't always love them, and they always made me feel really small, especially as a woman. I think it's really hard to speak in those kind of environments, and it's taken a lot for me to learn how to say that and how to say no. I've never really found that sessions were fully for me, and so I built my own studio, and whether that was in my parents' garage or my own home, it was really important for me to have that space to feel free, and just being with myself and the beat really allowed me to do that. I think a lot of people sometimes maybe get offended that I don't want to work. It's not really about them. It's just what makes it more fluid for me. I rather do my own vocals. I rather do my own writing, and I'll still do a bunch of co-writes, but I prefer to not right now. But this year has changed. I have started working with some amazing students, especially from Berkeley, and they are so professional. Shout out Berkeley, amazing school. I've worked with some great producers and writers from there recently, and I've been so thankful. That's a little bit of what the process looks like. Last question for today. What impact would you like to make outside of music? I've thought about this one a lot. I think I'm going to revert to why I called my name Mari's World. It was really important to me that I just didn't want to be just a music artist. I think I wanted to be an artist, which I think entails more than just creating. I think artists have such a big responsibility, and while you can specialize in something, I really wanted to make it a part of my mission to make an impact on this world. I think the biggest thing I want to do is create more health education, especially in Guatemala. I noticed that a lot of my family over there and a lot of people over there are just simply not aware of some of the things that they put both in their body, and I know there's a lack of resource as well. It's still a third world country, but I really want to make it my mission to create both a space and a class per se where I can really help educate on how to better their health. There's not a lot of access to medicine there either. So I'm lucky enough to have both family and specifically my mom have ways where we're brainstorming how we can really implement that. But that's one of my bigger goals right now, outside of music. So yeah, those are my 2 questions I'm going to hit on today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any other recommendations for what you would like for me to talk about, if you have any questions that you'd like for me to answer, this is the show for that. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you like this, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Love you. I don't know why I kissed the mic. That was weird. And this episode was powered by Sure. You see it?